Hey guys, this is Michael Stuka with relocating in Kelowna, and very excited to give you an update about what's going on in the Okanagan with the real estate, especially because we had some major fires happening here in August. So let's dive right into it. Here are the numbers for October 2023. As you can see, this is the overall numbers for the total, all the categories we have in Kelowna, including single detached homes, condos, apartments, townhouses, and everything else. As you can see, overall, we are down in sales almost 20%. Listings are also down compared to the same time last year. And you're seeing that the list to sale ratio went from 47% down to 40. This is still balanced market, and the price ratio is down. So that means that buyers are able to negotiate it more off the asking price than last year. And it now takes on average 56 days to sell. So that is also up compared to 2022. We have about 10 and a half month of inventory. And you're seeing this is also important to look at because September 2023 is down. So we're seeing that this is month to month, just comparing this the 1 month in the year. So last year we had almost 40% list to sale ratio. We are now 10% down. So that means if you list 10 houses, only 3 will sell. And in September, we went from 55 days to 62. That is an indication that we will have a slower market heading into the fall. There's going to be fewer sales, and it'll take overall more time for the sellers to attract buyers. So that's important to keep that in mind. If you're thinking of selling, it'll be a quick market, and you have to really price it accordingly and be more aggressive with your strategy there. So this is residential, very similar to the averages because that's a majority of the market. So you're seeing that the sales are down 16%, the average selling price about 7% down, medium about 10. But overall, we are seeing that so if we compare 2022 with 2023, average selling price came down from 1.165 to 1,084,000. And this has been pretty consistent last few months. We are seeing that's sort of where the price has been, and that's where it adjusted and stayed in. So the buyers are now able to negotiate 3% on single detached homes, and it takes sellers extra 21 days to sell. So total of 51 days compared to 30 days last year, right? We have about 10 months of inventory there. And as you can see, September to September, we are about almost pretty much the same average selling price. And this is very consistent. I mean, a little bit up, but not too bad. And let's look at the next one. So this one is this is for condos. So this is also very interesting because you can see that there are less listings coming in heading into the fall. There are more sales, less sales, about 20% sales, less than last year. And we are seeing the list to sale ratio. Now, this would be still balanced market of 50%. So anywhere from 40 to 60%, it's a balanced market. And we are seeing that there was an adjustment in the average selling price, just over $50,000, and which is about 10%. Then you can see September to September. There's about $50,000 as well, about 10%, and it takes a little bit longer. About 7.5 months of inventory, and it takes you now 53 days on average to sell an apartment in Kelowna. Townhouses, those seem to be pretty steady. However, as you can see, sales are down 15%, but 53 to 47. This is still very healthy. You can see that the average selling price only came down about 5-6%. But this is a little bit alarming. You know, again, 26% list to sale ratio. That is a buyer's market, right? So this is definitely indicating that the same last year, we had more of a buyer's market heading into the fall for townhouses, and there's about eight month of inventory, right? So it takes about from last year now 46 days for you to sell, and last year was 30 days. Now, lots, they actually are doing a little better. So you can see there was an increase in the average selling price in, I guess, medium and 1% on average. And you're seeing some positive news here. Last year, it would take 120 days on average for you to sell a lot. And the list to sale ratio is 11, now it's 26. I mean, there's, 5 sales in 2020, two up to this point in September, and 7 this year. So there was a bit of adjustment. There's, it looks a little better, but those are very small numbers, right? So if you sell one really expensive lot, that's kind of makes everything look better. And buyers are able to negotiate about 7%, and the inventory is about 25 months, so it's pretty good inventory out there. But I still feel like if you're looking for a lot that you can build on without any builder that is assigned to you or that you have to choose, there's still not that many options out there. Looking at the mobile homes, so 61% to list to sale ratio. So that is again pretty balanced. We have about 5 months, so not too bad when it comes down to inventory. But it takes some time. It's plus 19 days, so 106 days now to 57 days to sell now. So that's not too bad, and about 4% that buyers can negotiate. Now, looking at the average selling price for this is September last year to this year, there is a big difference. And that could be again because we're looking at the numbers of sales 16 to 24. So 2023 is much better compared to the September of last year. But you are able to negotiate a little bit more. And in September, it took 75 days on average to sell a mobile home. This one is interesting just to point out the depreciation we're seeing about 7% for residential. This is all year to date, and about 10% for apartments. Again, depends, on that. Those are just averages, but depends when you bought it and all that stuff. So this is just overall summary. You can pause and look at all the numbers, but January, we are seeing that was the low point. So we saw that the prices were steadily declining all the way up to 950. That was the lowest point in January. And on average, buyers were able to negotiate about 7% on single detached homes. And that quickly recovered. I guess, buyers start seeing that there is a value to get into the market after the price adjusted. And you can see this sort of where the average selling price stabilized around the 1,080,000. And that's been pretty kind of up and down, but pretty consistent there. And then you can see for apartments, they are actually up. So the average selling price, you can see has been pretty good, and especially for September 2023, I guess there was some really good sales or some higher end apartments that sold, because that really brought up the average selling price. You see the medium is not as high. And then townhouses, you're looking at this was in March 2023. That was the lowest point. Same for mobile homes. That was in March, but they were just month before in February. They were up there with the average selling price. So very interesting to see. Here you can see the 5-year CMHC interest rate. So we are sort of around the 5.5 mark, and it cost you about $612 to finance $100,000 of a mortgage, right? And then down here you can see this is just the number if you would finance 100% of your mortgage, which is never the case. But right now it costs you, with taking that average selling price of 1,088,000, it'll cost you $670 dollars, whereas in January that was a little bit better. It was just about 45,400. So it's still high, but you can see that it's getting less and less affordable for people to get into the market. Now this is the median price for the 6 months, and you can see that this was the peak. Just kind of overall summary, this is where you see that this was the first lockdown. There was the uncertainty, price came down a little bit, and then it took off because they lowered the interest rates, and this was sort of the bubble that we saw with all the increase in the activity, low supply, and low interest rates. And then this is when they start changing the interest rates, and it adjusted very quickly, especially for single detached homes. You can see that townhouses was as not as drastic. Then lots, you can see they've definitely adjusted big time, and apartments not too bad. Mobile homes pretty steady overall. So they were, they're kind of like they had some increase, but it wasn't as dramatic as single detached homes. And this is the inventory. So I just wanted to point out this is when, supply demand, you see this was the lowest point in all the inventory we saw. This was for single residential homes. And this is when the price was the highest, right? Because of low supply and high demand. So that's what sets the prices. And then when they start adjusting the interest rates, people stop buying. And then when the inventory went up and prices came down. This is just overall where you can see is what's been happening in the last 5 years and the number of sales, right? So you can see this was the kind of greenish. This was 2020. This is when the COVID started. This was the lockdown. Everything moved up and kind of create a bit of a mess with the numbers, right? Because then everyone was comparing this number of sales, which was normally would be moved and would be here. Now it was later in the year. So all of this was compared 315, right? With the sort of a more of a fall market. So, there was a big, obviously difference, but if you look at the other years, so we are following now 2022 and 2023, that has the more of the standard or what we usually see when you have a busy spring and summer and it sort of starts slowing down towards the fall. So that's what we are seeing this year as well. And I'm pretty sure it'll continue, right? So there'll be less and less sales heading into the fall. Then and I was able to get you guys some numbers for what it looks like with all the fires. So we saw that we lost about 189 properties due to the wildfires here. Most of them were on the west side, so 69 there, and then 94 in regional district of Central Okanagan. I think this is including other locations because there was not that many that burned in Kelowna. I think it was only a few, but this, I think they included it to, make this number bigger to get more attention, I guess. Or if you guys know that there was more houses, let me know. But that's my understanding. So this is the big two fires we had in 2003. So you can get to see this is the number of sales that we had, right? So we definitely saw that it slowed down, but it sort of continued throughout. So it wasn't too bad. And the number of, when you look at the number of sales, and this was the more recent one where, you can see that definitely there was an adjustment, but then it sort of continued. There was not that, would stop and no one was buying because there were fires. This is just based on, you can see that all of this was during the fires, right? So you can see that there's definitely less sales, but because of the mortgages, right, we're not able to really or give you a mortgage because you can get an insurance. So that was everything got delayed, and I think that we'll see the sales still happening later in the year. So that is basically it. If you guys have any further questions, just feel free to reach out and let me know. And hopefully this was helpful and you got some value out of it.